it was clear that the driver did not know what was in the container. So even the first members who arrived first, they were supposed to have made like a proper investigation before they can arrest people.
So was your conclusion then about the driver that his arrest by Mahano Pakula team, Mashaba team, should not have happened?
It was premature.
Yeah, it shouldn't have happened.
Yes.
You used the word premature, but
Yes.
my question is,
Yeah.
given his explanation.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think at that particular time, no one had interviewed him. They didn't even know the processes as to how does this person get these notifications with regard to collecting these containers and stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Perhaps just on it's a different subject, but still affecting the driver. I've read from you've provided us with a copy of your diary entry where you interviewed Mthembu. And he seems to suggest there, if my memory serves me well, that the driver is involved or somehow is implicated. Did I capture that? Is my recollection correct?
Yes, Commissioner, he did mention something like that.
Yeah.
Because he was indicating that the driver did not pass through these way bridges. So he drove from Durban to Rodikop without stopping at any way bridges. And according to him, because of him doing that, he knew what was inside the container.
And this weight bridges is where there's a potential, I suppose, search.
Yes.
Of the trucks.
Of the trucks, yes.
Yeah. Was it that the only inference from him to say because he didn't stop?
Yeah, that was the only inference.
That renders him
yeah.
suspicious as well.
Yeah. He was saying maybe he was instructed by somebody that he mustn't stop anyway. He must just drive from Durban to Rodikop.
Now, when you spoke to Jolene and them, the Kukemurs, did you explore this with them in terms of the traveling of the truck and the stops? Are they compulsory? Did you take this issue further with them when you interviewed them?
Commissioners, the Jolene's and the other lady who works for Scania, Jolene works for Scania, I think in South Africa. There's that other one, Scania Brazil. They don't know as to the traveling arrangements because the company, the truck company belongs to another company. It belongs to Yellow Jersey,
yes.
Not the Scania, the Freighten, because the Jolene's company is Freighten, but they deals with Scania. In Jolene is Scania South Africa and the Roseland Scania Brazil. So they only request the transportation from the other company. What the other company tells their driver, they don't know.
Did you ask the driver about that allegation?
Yes.
And
he said no, he didn't get any instruction from anyone.
No. Sorry. Let me clarify my question. Did you ask him about not stopping at way bridges?
Yes, we did.
And
he said he was in a hurry to go back home. He was tired. He didn't want to stop anyway.
Okay. But then later on, and I'm sure Mr. Msikidi will get there, but it's a topic that's related to this. You seem in your conclusions to have accepted that something was wrong with him not stopping at way bridges along the way.
Yes, Commissioner, because normally I don't know what is the purpose of these drugs going to these way bridges, whether there's a reason for them to go. Normally when I drive, I just saw the trucks going through way bridges. I don't know what is the purpose of those trucks going there. But if this one is saying this person did not even go to the way bridges, I went and asked the driver why you didn't go to the way bridges. And his answer was that, no, I was tired. I just wanted to reach my destination on time.
Okay, you may misunderstand what I'm saying. You say in the conclusion the driver took the container at the harbour at about 13:30 and arrived at his company in Johannesburg at 2000 hours, which is very quick, I agree.
Yeah, it was very quick.
And then this is the part which I'm asking about. You say, which is highly unlikely for the truck. So you seem to give significance or even credence to Nku saying, he didn't stop along the way, which suggests he had instructions. So I was asking that kind of question, that did you accept that the driver must be implicated? That's why he was not stopping at way bridges, or in the way that you now, as you're sitting there, seem to speak about it, you now say, well, that's what Nku said. And yet your conclusion in paragraph 90 suggests you accepted what Nku said, that, yeah, indeed it is suspicious. And I was trying to clarify that with you.
Yep, Commissioners, it is really suspicious that a truck can travel like from Durban from 1 o'clock and then 8 o'clock is now here in Johannesburg. It was really suspicious. However, if I were to investigate these, this was supposed to be been investigated by the Hawks to check as to whether is it true that this person did not go via those way bridges or not.
Now, I would say it was supposed, to the extent that it has been put to you by Nku, and you seem to make something of it, but you had to investigate it. Otherwise, you've just accepted the so-called informers' information to you, which may, which may be nothing. If you had investigated, for example, you could have asked Yellow Jersey, and maybe Yellow Jersey might have said, no, don't worry, this driver does this all the time, or there's nothing wrong with him not stopping. And between you and me, Assistant Director, we drive on the road and see very fast trucks, scaringly fast trucks. So the fact that it was fast, alone in itself without more, it's difficult to accept that, therefore, it indicates the driver was in on whatever scheme was going on here. You would be expected to do further investigation of it before you say, yes, the conduct of the driver was suspicious. Nku is on to something here.
Commissioner, it's difficult to investigate those kind of issues because it was going to look like we are now overstepping on the investigations that is being conducted by the SAPS. However, like I was saying, if we had the copies of the other docket, we're going to see as to what is in the docket, whether the police followed the issue of these way bridges or not. If not, IPID was going to do that. But we didn't want to investigate this issue, and this truck driver is not even a police officer where IPID have mandate to investigate such. So it was supposed to have been done by the police officers.
I guess my problem with you is you draw something out of it. If you had just recorded it, as Nku said, and left it at that, and it didn't look like you made anything of it, then you and I would not be having this conversation. We are having this conversation because Nku says this, and then you make something of it in paragraph 30, that yes, of course, that it was suspicious, the driver was suspicious, but you can't then sit there and say, well, it wasn't anything that I could investigate, when you're drawing certain conclusions about the travel time. That's my concern about it.
Yeah.
But I've heard you.
Okay.
Thank you, Director. Can we then pick it up at paragraph 34, dealing with Jolene Cook?
Okay. Jolene Cook, the lady who received the container, see attached annexure T13, TK13, state that she is employed by Freight and Logistics Eretin. Her duties include, amongst others, receiving the goods, warehousing, and distribution of Scania, South Africa. On 2021-0709, at about 9, the container arrived at the warehouse from Yellow Jersey. The truck was accompanied by the police officer. On arrival, one police officer approached her and said they have a tip-off and requested her to open the container. She immediately took a file and went to the container to check the seal, comparing it with the arrival notification to check if they correspond. The seal was intact and corresponded. She then requested her colleague to open the container. As they opened the container, the black bags fell out of the container and the police officer said it was drugs. They were instructed to load the bags inside the Nissan buggy. After loading, the toll officer came with cable ties and he said he was arresting them. He was arresting her for receiving the goods, the driver for transporting the goods, and Cornelius because the goods belonged to him. He said he was taking them to the nearest police station.
Before you continue, just for the benefit of the commissioners, because I have consulted with the gentlemen involved here, you have also met them. Would you agree with me that when reference is made to the toll officer, it would refer to Mashaba? Would you accept that?
I don't even remember. I think he's tall. I don't remember him.
Of the three, he is the tallest between Pakula. Well, everybody's taller than me, but
I don't remember if he's the tallest, but I think it was him because the first people who arrived, it was him and Mahano.
And Mahan is quite short.
Yeah, yes. I think yes, they are referring to Mashaba.
Yes, so commissioners, I think for now you can accept that at least when reference is made to the tall officer is Mashaba. And in any event, I think it ties down with what he says in that he effected the arrest.
Suggesting we take judicial notice of that.
Indeed.
All I can say is I did see that Warrant Officer Mahano is not really tall. But as for the rest and who's the tallest, I have no idea.
Deputy Director, can you then continue? I interrupted you when you were about to move to paragraph 38.
Okay. She informed her director about the arrest and that they must meet at the police station. She told them that she can't drive with them, and she went to her office to collect her belongings and went back and found Boysen's police. After some few minutes, police officer in red vehicle arrived and obtained her statement. While the police were busy obtaining her statement, police from Flying Squad and Hawks also arrived, and they dealt with the situation. At about 1700, the police officer who arrived first at the warehouse were arrested by the police officer who alleged they were from the Hawks. Francois Riquet, he states that on 2021-07-09, at about 9, he spoke to General Khan on the phone explaining to him that the situation at the receiving warehouse of Scania in Omnia Park was getting volatile. He told him that the police were threatening him and his colleagues with arrest. He confirms that the container from Brazil was transporting parts, and they opened it on the instruction of the police. Black bags that were not supposed to be there were found in the container.
I just have two questions for you. At paragraph 39, Jolene says that the police from Flying Squad and the Hawks also arrived. And then she says they dealt with the situation. What is your understanding of what she means by that?
Because on from paragraph 37, because the police were telling her that she was being arrested, when she said the police, the Hawks arrived and dealt with the situation, my understanding was that they're the one who said, no, you cannot arrest this one, then they arrested the other police who came first.
I'm not sure if I understand that, but let's move on to my last question on this aspect. Maybe you'll assist me. From at least for now, I know you interviewed a lot of people, but at least from the 3 independent witnesses that you interviewed, and we just went through their summary, is there anywhere you can draw the elements that will sustain a claim of defeating the ends of justice against any of the 5 accused? And if so, can you then draw us to those allegations from these witnesses that will support what Mahan and them are saying?
Okay. These other police officers, they came later at the crime scene. There were 2 police officers from Boysens who arrived first, who arrived after these Makhanu and Mashaba arrived at the crime scene. I think they received a complaint from 10111 talking about issue, I think it was hijacking or something like that. They attended to the crime scene, they interviewed Makhanu and Mashaba, and I think after their interaction with those police officers, they were satisfied with what was happening there, because they also gave their 08, like their report back to 10111, indicating that it is a legit operation, the police are working, and they were assisting the Mashaba and Mukhano before even Pakula arrived at the crime scene. So for the Hawks members to come later and arrest these members without even following up on the information as to where the drugs were going, it was something else.